Hello everyone, my name is Hasan Baran Fırat, and I am eager to join ANAMED as a postdoctoral fellow in 2023 to 2024. I'm grateful to IAE, Istanbul Research Institute, Koç University and ANAMED for this great opportunity. I hope an exciting and productive year for all. I have a multidisciplinary background with diverse research interests, which primarily include urban musicology, sensory history, and digital humanities. I dedicate my research to the oral tradition and musical cultures of early modern Istanbul and Naples. I held a bachelor in mechanical engineering and master's in architecture with an emphasis on building physics, in which I studied acoustics of Mevlevi Lodges of Istanbul. Recently, I have received my PhD in architecture from Università degli Studi della Campania Luigi Vanvitelli. My dissertation, titled as Historically Informed Soundscape Design, a Method for the Digital Reconstructions of Historical Soundscapes, aimed to develop a methodology for reconstructing historical soundscapes, drawing inspirations from historically informed performance concept of early music studies. At ANAMED, on the other hand, I will be working on a project titled as From Solemnity of Silence to the Clamor of Noise, Ottoman ruling elite's oral presence in the urban scene of early modern Istanbul. Having focused on the oral representation tactics of the Ottoman court, my study will investigate what kind of strategies did rulers follow to manage their sonic identity beyond the courtly confines. What were the tools palace used as a medium of political and disembodied power? The intricate sonic program of the court was manifested through ceremony codes, processions, dellals, imams, muezzins, mutes, dervishes, and musicians. My study seeks to unravel how these mediums influenced the urban soundscape and the perceptions of Ottoman populace. The opening of the courts to the public, what is named as the Cloy Cinema by Shirin Hamede, was an early modern phenomenon that took place almost in all court traditions of European capitals. Beginning with the 17th century, Ottoman governmental elite too couldn't evade themselves from the impact of ascending power of public opinion. And this did reflect in their representational tactics as a result of fading ancient influence of the silence. My study here examines the turn by focusing on the city's major center, At Meydanı, since the Byzantine period where power and conflict intermingles. Earlier applications of the sensory research to the Ottoman world has been dealt with indoor court spaces. My project, on the other hand, focuses on oral representations of the court in the public arena of Istanbul. In contrary to the management of any indoor court soundscape, any ceremonies span over palace's silent walls, such as Sultan's meeting with subjects after Friday prayer, the reception of foreign envoys and ambassadors, sailing off and returning of the Royal Navy, sending gifts to the holy city of Mecca, and a number of other ceremonies were in need of more sophisticated control mechanisms. In earlier periods of the empire, sultans coming out to the public always was an extraordinary event in an harmony with his unearthly personality. Some European travelers note such at rare moments in which there was a dead silence when the sultan and his entourage passed by and people were quiet as Moses. Dellals, namely heralds, who were officially or sometimes unofficially in charge, were spreading out an announcement to the public by wandering around the city and shouting out the message, were set in front of the Sultan's cortege to warn people that Sultan is coming. No one was allowed to make any noise. When the Sultan honored the place with his presence, any cry, acclamation, or complaint was forbidden. This tradition also resulted as a specific tradition of complaint petition submission, in which complainer burns weeds at top of his or her head and waits to be seen in silence by the Sultan or his officers in ceremonies, especially during Friday prayer. Even if people wanted to just praise the Sultan, it was only duty of a specific occupational group put in charge by the court itself. Alkışçılar, namely applauders, were well known with their cry as "Padişahım çok yaşa." Their duty was well defined, even if their applauding style may sound rudimental. applaud as we understand today to show enjoyment or approval of something, such as a performance or speech, by clapping the hands repeatedly to make a noise, was entirely new to the Ottoman society in the Tanzimat period. Nevertheless, it is hard to determine the date it entered the Ottoman realm. Cevdet Pasha writes about a triggering event in 1863 during the Sultan Abdülaziz's Egypt visit. According to him, Sultan amused with the applause he met during his visit and stated his contentment. "We haven't seen the applause in Istanbul before that we have seen in Izmir and Egypt." In this regard, Ottoman court provides ample material to conduct prolific studies focused on sound and its politic and social representations, such as the above-mentioned swing from a controlled acoustic ambient by force to a sonic atmosphere left to the alleged voluntary way of showing appreciation is worth a more detailed investigation. The study aims to portray how these sound sources clashed or sounded in harmony in the city's foremost public square, At Meydanı, situated between old and new palaces and connecting these two with the old Byzantine ceremonial road, was foremost and most crowded public square in the history of Ottomans. The square was not limited to becoming a stage for official ceremonies or rebellions, but any event that happened there would be circulated throughout the city through babble, gossip, or rumor, but also echoed in the musical melodies. By working on a vast array of historical sources, my endeavor seeks to transcend the confines of traditional monograph. I aim to employ digital methodologies to reconstruct a particular sound event in At Meydanı. Contrary to the predominant views of Mark Smith, a well-known sound historian, who believes historians should stay in print, I believe that a holistic exploration of any sensory modality requires both consumption and reproduction practices. I would like to express my gratitude again to IAE and ANAMED for this great opportunity, and I am very much look forward to joining ANAMED and to meeting all scholars and fellows there. Thank you very much for your attention.